Our next story focuses on Russia's secret successes in Ukraine. While the world's attention remains fixated on Gaza, Russia seems to have launched a winter offensive in Ukraine, making notable gains. However, not all victories warrant a celebration, and this sentiment appears to prevail in Russia at the moment. They are capitalizing on the world's diverted attention to make strategic advances in key Ukrainian regions. Just take a look at the map of Ukraine right now. The red highlighted portion in Ukrainian territory under the control of Russian troops since the war began. And that double line, well, that marks their westward advances. Just in the last few days, Russian troops have managed to take control of all this Ukrainian territory. Reports say that in the past few days, Russia has gone from taking a defensive posture to making advances, active advances in key areas. Russia has gone on attack mode from the Donetsk front in the southeast of Ukraine and from the Kyiv front in the northeast of Ukraine. Russian troops have not only managed to stop the Ukrainian summer offensive, but made major advances on the Ukrainian battlefield. Currently, fierce fighting is underway in Avdiivka, a Ukrainian-controlled municipality which stands at the gates of the city of Donetsk, which, remember, Russia illegally annexed. Here, Putin's troops are trying to lay siege to Ukrainian forces. Both sides are paying a bloody price for this coveted city, since fighting broke out here on October 10th. That's when Russian troops launched a new offensive. Avdiivka has strategic value. If Russia takes control of it, it would extend Russia's control of the entire region of Donbass. It would also push Ukrainian forces back from the threshold of Donetsk and open up the main rail and road routes for the Russians. And so, defending Avdiivka is Ukraine's main concern as of now. As was the case during Russia's previous winter offensive, Russian forces appear to be using human wave tactics. What does this mean? It is a strategy which entails troops storming head-on in repeated surges to overrun frontline positions. General Alexander Syrsky, the commander of Ukraine's ground forces and architect of last year's successful counteroffensive, has described the current operation or the current conditions as difficult and challenging. Moving up north, Russian forces have also stepped up attacks in Lyman and Kupiansk. Recently, Russian artillery has pounded both towns, reduced them to rubble. When Ukraine launched its counteroffensive campaign in June, the goal was to take back land lost to Russian forces. That has now become less and less realistic as the months have gone by. Despite being armed with Western weapons, tanks, vehicles, Ukraine's troops have not made any tangible results. They have faced formidable Russian defenses and could not break through. Ukraine's lack of progress on the battlefield has effectively stalled the counteroffensive. The next few weeks look very difficult for Ukraine as Russia goes on the offensive. It is looking like Ukraine has two major challenges at hand. One, they need to give rest to the units that have been fighting for months now and train new soldiers. Two, they need to keep up the pressure on Russian forces. Ukraine has to maintain pressure on the front line. Yes, Ukraine has been unable. Well, for now, it has been able to inflict heavy casualties on Russia, but these are sacrifices that Russia has already made at other points in the war. So how is Russia achieving this? According to the Institute for the Study of War, an American non-profit research group, the Russians continue to use Storm Z assault units. They are made up of prisoner recruits. You see, the Russians are preparing for meat assaults, a jargon for highly attritional infantry-led front assaults. It happens when Russian infantry forces attack without artillery support to support Ukrainian firing positions. The target, Avdiivka and surrounding areas. The goal, number one, the Russians aim to capture the remainder of the Luhansk province, push its forces further westward and encircle the Donetsk region. Number two, to capture the entire Donetsk region, the claimed territory of Russia's proxies in Donbass, in Donetsk. Ukrainian forces are continuing their offensive operations in the Bakhmut region. But Russian forces continue their ground attacks. And that's the situation on the battlefield as it stands today. As winter sets in and makes the ground difficult to tread, will Ukraine go another year without making any big advances? Will the stalemate on the battlefield remain? Will Ukraine ever be able to satisfy its appetite for more Western weaponry? Will the West be able to meet Ukraine's needs and demands till 2024? These are some complex questions, but the situation for Ukraine is also complex. Either way, the near future doesn't look good for Ukraine. Amid Russia's secret victories in the ongoing war, how long can Ukraine go on? We leave you with that question. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.